Welcome to the third installment of Men of Modern Mathematics, based on the 1966 IBM poster of the same name. This week's mathematician is a name I think most people will recognize. It's Fibonacci. Even people who aren't math geeks will probably be like, yeah, Fibonacci, that's the numbers guy, right? The guy with the numbers. And indeed it is. So he was born in 1170 and lived to about 1250 in Pisa and some other places. And before we get to Fibonacci, I wanted to kind of set the stage of where we are in history. So the great cathedrals of France are being built at this time. The sacking of Constantinople in 1204 by the Crusaders basically puts an end to the dominance of Greek culture. And mathematically, in this period, and in the previous 2 weeks that we did, you see a lot of what's happening is basically the translation of great works from the Arabs and the Indians and the Chinese are being translated and making their way west. And so finally, we have somebody in Western Europe, Fibonacci in Italy, translating a lot of these great works and spreading these works around. So let's read directly from the calendar. So he was known as Leonardo of Pisa. And it wasn't until actually many years later in the 1800s that he would get the name Fibonacci, which really just means son of Bonacci. And you can see that Leonardo of Pisa, alias the son of Boccaccio, learned the abacus from his father and other Oriental methods through extensive travel. Some of his best work came from a sort of mathematical tournament sponsored by Frederick II. His nickname, Bedione, aka Dunce, matches his father's Boccaccio, which is dope. Yet, not for 300 years would Europe see another mathematician of such outstanding ability. So he was quite accomplished, besides just translating great works. As you can see in the other half of the description here, his book, Liber Abaci, accelerated the adoption of Hindu Arabic numerals in Europe. And that's the numeral system that we're used to, but that didn't make its way to Europe until Fibonacci's book. And Liber Abaci just means book of calculation. Some people think it means abacus, but abacus gets its name from calculation as well. So he has the book of calculations, which gives us the numerical system that we have today, that we inherited from the Hindu Arabic tradition. And he very ably summarizes Arabian algebra. His proof that x cubed plus 2x squared plus 10x equals 20 cannot be solved by square roots, and his extremely accurate numerical solutions were both far ahead of his time. The Fibonacci numbers and one of his identities recur in various contexts throughout the centuries. So for people who don't know, the Fibonacci numbers or sequence is a sequence of numbers where each number is the sum of the two numbers before it. But you have to seed it with 0 and 1. Obviously, 1 isn't the sum of 0 and nothing. So you start with 0 and 1, then the next number is 0 plus 1, which is 1. Then 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, etc. And it goes on and on. And it's an important sequence because it just occurs in nature a lot. And you come across it all the time, so much so that there's still an active quarterly journal dedicated to Fibonacci sequence because there are always new instances of it occurring. But here's the thing. I always thought he invented the sequence. He did not. So he's describing it in his book, but it was known by the Indians as far back as 200 BC. It was written about by Indian mathematicians. So there you go. Fibonacci, famous for numbers that he didn't actually create, but he is the great mathematician at that time, the best European mathematician of the medieval times, and would not be topped for another 300 years. So that's it for this week. And next week, we'll be on to Chin Chu So, and I'm probably butchering his name, and I apologize for that. All right, have a good week.